So I had some really big technical issues tonight. So it made me way off time. I should have started 3 hours ago. I should have started 3 hours ago. I should have started 3 hours. I should have started 3 hours. I should have started 3 hours. Okay, so I'm turning down the sound on my tablet. Hi, Launch. Thank you. I'm so glad you're here. I did send out notices, and I posted it on my community tab, but unfortunately, I said I was going to be there at 9:15, and it is now what? A lot later than that. So how do I get into my own room so I can see on here? I had this problem the last time. Patience, everyone. I don't know. Can anyone see the... Nobody can see that yet. So we'll show that to you. Can you see it now? There you go. There's Mr. Bojangles here with us tonight. And by the way, there was supposed to be spooky music in the background, and I didn't know if I could get away with it. And I found out that my candle, because we're not actually supposed to have candles in here that are lit because of where I live. My candle takes a 1.5 volt, by the way, folks. And so it's going to be here mainly just for looks, I guess. So there you go. Whoops. I'm going to lose Mr. Bojangles here. So we'll put the candle maybe up behind him. I mean, I really pushed myself in here even quicker than I probably would have gotten here, because I said 9:45 to everybody on my Facebook, just so you know. It says one waiting United States. That must be me, huh? Because you're in here now with me. I'm going to have to pull you over here so I can see you. You're so funny. You really are. I love you. You got such a sense of humor. You're great. So what is going on here? Why can I not see my chat here? Will it let me get in my chat? One likes, one waiting. So, what am I doing wrong? Nope, that's not going to work. I need to be able to see the chat. That's why I started bringing my laptop in here. Can you hear me okay, Launch? Could you just tell me if you can hear me okay? Okay, so are we back? It said there was some kind of glitch, guys. Can you see me now? Wow, and I lost someone too, because there were like 7 people in here. Unbelievable. I am so sorry. So, as I said, there is Mr. Bojangles there, if you can see him. He's sitting back there all happy and lappy while everything's going a goose on my channel. I had 7 people in here, and I had somebody by the name of Fairy something Cookie. So, I don't know. They probably got knocked out of the live, is all I'm thinking. So, I'm getting my surgical gloves on because I don't want to, but I'm going to be working with all this clay and some sculpty stuff here. I wanted to play Halloween music, everybody, in the background. But I was afraid that my YouTube police would get me, the YouTube police, for any music played. Okay, so I'm going to try and see if I can get this to pull up again. Nope. Let me try to go out of here. I'm trying to pull me up so that I can see my chat on the tablet. It says there's one watching. That's got to be you, Lance. Thank you so much. How do I get this thing to pull me up? Live. Open app. That might work, and I might be able to see what everyone's typing to me. Hi, Joe Daddy. I'm an old lady, man, and swingers were back in the 60s, so I don't think that's an issue here, but this is all about crafting and having fun. So it's not a dating channel, but thanks for asking. So how do I update my thing? It says it looks like I have an older version of browser. Please update it to use the live chat. It's on my tablet. It's doing this. I can hear myself playing on my TV in the living room, which has got a current version. No, there are no swingers in here, Joe Daddy. Just people who are what? Might be swinging off a limb after tonight with my live coming out. Launch, are you still with me? And I was already warned by Google that there is some mess going on. I didn't find where I was having any problems with anyone hacking or anything else, but it's awfully strange. All my stuff came in French from my YouTube update, so that was strange. So what we're going to try to work on is we're going to work on a few Halloween beads here, and I'm just going to watch myself and then come back and look into the live each time so I can see you guys, because it says I need a newer version on my tablet. So how is everybody? Are you all ready for Halloween? Do you have trick-or-treaters out in your area? I don't even know if they have trick-or-treaters out here. Thank you for showing up and coming in. It says there's 3 of us, so it's myself, Launch, and I did have someone else that was in here, but I guess this Joe Daddy's number 2, and I don't know who's the number 1 chat. So top fans get chat priority. This is not a dating channel. And as long as you're in here to learn about some cool crafts and learn some jewelry work, then you're more than welcome in here. This is not a dating channel. Please keep your comments clean and decent. Okay, let's see what we got here. I'm not sure where my camera is right now, because when we do this tonight, we're going to make some beads with this, which is pretty cool, by the way. This is like a sculpty thing, and you don't put it in here. It's not a paint tray. It actually makes oval beads, hollow oval beads. I'm not sure who can see what where. There we go. That's better. Absolutely, Launch. You scared the pants right down to my knees, which are what? Shorts. Nothing else. A pair of shorts because it's still warm out here in the area where I am. Okay, so I'm going to try this again to see if it'll allow me to get into the chat part on my tablet. Now, this tablet's up to date, so I don't get it why it's saying that the browser is not up to date for this. So I'm going to try to pull out of here and see if I can go in another way. Can I use this? See if this one works. Thank you for your patience, Launch, and everybody else who's been in here. There were about 7 people here, and I don't know. It says there's only 3 of us now. So there you go. So we're actually going to make some hollow beads, and we're going to do some ones that are pumpkins and ones that are ghost, and it sounds kind of juvenile, but it really isn't in the long run because there's a lot of people who like Halloween, and we're going to use these little evil eyes here to protect everyone. Some people bead wrap them, or wrap them into a necklace, I should say, or wire wrap them into a necklace. I'm having tablet problems. This is why I want to get my other tablet going, because this tablet is just scary. And I didn't have room to bring my laptop in here tonight. Yeah, I got set up all right. So you removed your thing, your message. Okay. Let's see what got going on here. And see if I can get it to let me in this way so I can have Messenger on it. I know a lot of people have a lot of other things probably going on because it is almost Halloween, but we're just going to work on some fun little things. Everybody, don't forget to thumbs up my live. It'll really help with the algorithm. I really appreciate it. It says there's 4 of us watching now. And of course, I say I'm in the United States because I don't give out my address, and that's why. And only my certain personal friends who know me know where I am. It is just a safety thing, as it is for anything. Just like the guy coming in and asking if we had any swingers in here. I thought that was funny. And I'm still trying to get this where it'll show the chat. Speed, stable volume, copy, steps. What? I'm going to try this again. That almost looks like my cat, doesn't it? Can you see it at all, Launch? Yeah, I'm on the planet Earth. That's correct. You got it right. You got it right. Oh my goodness. Can I use a different browser? Can I do this one? I'm not a big fan of the, whatever you want to call it. I am not a big fan of my Amazon tablet. I'm working on getting a different one. I have a smaller one, but I have no idea where it is. I had a lot going on here today. Wait a minute. Now, I know the last time, oh, that's because I was using my I was using my computer and not this. So we're going to just hit YouTube. This is awful. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to set this up so I can see everyone talking in the live chat. Thank you. Thumbs up from me, a thumbs up from you, Launch. I know. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Oh, wait. I'm trying to find me. That'll be 1 in a million, so I'm going to have to search it from here. And I don't know what Star is doing, my cat, but she was over here in the window. So I thought that's a good advertisement for Halloween. I like Halloween. I think it's a lot of fun. Oops. And I did send out invitations to my other friends, but who knows if they got them. Half of them are worse than I am, and I got a degree. One of my degrees is tech. If y'all keep hearing that ooh-hoo, I don't know how to get that off my phone. I have no idea. Okay, so did it pull it up? I typed it in. Organic. Pretty bad when you got to find yourself. Organic silver. Moon. Designs. LLG. Okay, so where's the live? Let's just go find me here in another video, and then I'll click my live. There we go. All right, so now, am I supposed to subscribe to myself? Can I do that? I'm already signed in. Sign in to subscribe to this channel. I'm already signed in. I am the person. This is what I'm talking about. Like my thing spinning too. Okay. Don't look at my screen. Okay, are we still here? Yeah, I had to verify myself on top of everything else. Insanity, huh? I guess I should have been wearing some ghouly makeup or something tonight, but I'm enough to scare anyone, so that's good enough. Okay. So we're searching. There we go. Organic Solar Moon Designs. I'm going to go grab my live again. I like this. I created this. I am the creator of the mushroom there, the scary mushroom when you sign in. Yeah, I did that. So that's my creation. So I do have some talent. It just doesn't always show. I don't know where I get any of my talent, to be honest with you. Okay, so now how do I get in so I can see more? Okay, that tells everything. How do I get into the live chat so I can see the live chat? More. Why is it not letting me see the live chat? Drag, top, and touch. Okay. I should be able to see the live chat though. Okay, so it's not going to let me see the live chat. So I'm just going to look over here every once in a while and you can see my fudged up hair. Welcome in everybody. Whoever's here, I thank you for being here. It says we have 6 people in the room and 2 thumbs up. Okay, so we're going to work on, the first thing we're going to work on is me getting my roller out here. Someday I will find my pasta machine, which will help me create what? Skinner blends and making clay softer, quicker, faster. Wow, so I got some Sculpey Primo here. They are not sponsoring me, folks, just by the way, just so you know. And my personal stuff out of the way. Daggone it. Okay, my screen goes off, which I don't even know why I got it on, just to see myself, I guess, because I can't see chat without looking around the corner. I know they didn't design my wire cutters for opening clay either. Now this should be really nice because this actually is not just a plain white. This is a pearlescent white, which I normally use for my other things, but I thought it'd be nice for the Halloween thing. It's not just a plain white, folks. It's pearlescent. I don't know if you can tell, and it sort of has a glitter in it. I don't know who can see what, because I have this so that hopefully you can see it. All right. This is about a pound. Yes, this is 1 pound of polymer clay, by the way, folks. And I'm going to cut a slice off it or 2 so we can use this hollow shell that we're going to make. Give me just 1 second, folks. Hopefully my cat will not come up here and entertain you, even though it is a Halloween video. Thank you so much again, Launch, and everyone for being here. Even those who are quiet, thank you for being here. Okay. Okay. I will be back in a moment, though. I have to go grab something that I don't have. I'll be right back, folks. Thank you for your patience. If you can still hear me, I hope. Okay, sorry about that. And since I don't have my, sorry folks, I have stuff to work with, but unfortunately, I only have technical difficulties. You don't want to see the rest of this workout area that I have here. Okay. Alrighty. Why isn't this coming up right? That'll do. I have to play myself. That's bad. Okay, so I brought these in, by the way. These are like tongue suppressors. And they're going to help us make sure that when I roll the clay out, that I get the level that I want the clay to be. You know, width and that kind of thing. And this is going to help us with some steampunk designs in our Halloween thing too. So this is a real pretty, it really is a pretty clay. And I'm using a dangerous knife, so I do not advise anyone to do this. I do have a razor. People have seen me use my razors for my clay. But we are just going, we are really, we are down to the bare bones tonight. We're lucky this live is up and running for me, thank goodness. I'm kind of getting a big chunk because I'm hoping to make 2 to 3 of these hollow beads that I'm going to show you. Wow. That's not bad clay, folks. That's the using of weapons to cut with instead of a razor. Okay. By the way, you do not want to lay your clay on anything that you might think that polymer clay will not affect, because I'm telling you it will. It will affect. If you don't have, you really need what I have right here, which is the clay tile, which is huge. You can buy these in like Home Depot and other places. And no, I'm not sponsored by them either. Okay, so I'm going to cut these up. We're maybe going to go with sort of a, here, let's get Mr. Bojingles, Halloween Bojingles here. I had his mouth where he was open. I was going to put a candle or something in his mouth or a fake rose, but that didn't happen. So there you go. Here, have some beads. Yeah. So I'm cutting these smaller because I'm going to have to roll this out and work it a little bit to soften the clay up. It is still rather warm here, but it's not warm enough for the clay in my studio room to soften that quickly, so that's not happening. So I'm going to take about, I'd say these are 1.5, 2 inches. Where is my, and I normally have a ruler here too. So we know $1 is what? 1 foot. So just take about that much of that foot off the dollar, and it'll tell you about how much clay you have. Sorry. But it's going to be fun once we get into this. It'll be really a lot of fun. And this clay is super hard, and I don't know why. So I'm going to try and chunk it up a little more. I wish I had some Halloween music I could play for you. Of course, I heard that you could play music if it was off of, but that is, I don't know if that's just for the TT and not for YouTube. Alexa, do you have any uncopyrighted music I could play in my video for Halloween? Well, that won't do me any good, will it? Because I don't want to be... Can I do that in the background and get away with it? You can tell I'm poor too, because what?
Is good enough for some, but not for you. Because you know there's nothing like traveling the world with the largest curated global hotel program.
Because I have commercials. So what's everybody doing for Halloween? There's going to be another Halloween video, and it's going to be much, much better than this one, but this one's going to be good. We're going to actually make these hollow beads, as I call them. And you can make different sizes, anywhere from 2 to 2.5 to 3. And I'd say this one's probably about a 4-inch bead, a 6-inch bead, and at least a 10-inch bead here, 8 to 10-inch hollow bead. This actually is for creating hollow beads, folks. I'm talking away and you can't see anything I'm doing. Lance, are you still here? I'm going to try to get it closer in on the clay that I'm working with. Let's see. There we go. And I've got some boxes and stuff under my feet down here, which I'm moving out of the way to try to get my ring light more over here. And we're getting ready to, what we're getting ready to do, folks, is we're going to, I'm chopping this up because it makes it easier for me to hand roll the clay. If you hear a lot of noise in the background, it's probably my cat. She's just piping in for the Halloween vibe. Knocking stuff over, you know, things that go bump in the night when it's Halloween. We don't need the advertisements. I'm not sponsoring advertisements. This is a non-sponsored video. As you can see how small I'm chopping all this up into these little bits. I'm also going to be adding some mica powder to it. Since these are going to be skulls, I'm looking for something that is... I was hoping I could get... I've got a pink here, but that does not work on Halloween. We don't want pinksters. We want black and gray. And this is jacquard, by the way. Okay, so this is like a silver, kind of grayish silver metallic. I don't know, can everybody even see that? It's jacquard. And I'm going to have to look at my camera again because I can't see jack squat. Good. I'm glad you can see it, Launch. Thank you for speaking up.
Let me see. Oh, yeah. Koh Samui. Why did you come back from Thailand? Who's that? Dylan. Why did you come back from Dylan? I know, right? Bye.
Okay, so this is not a swinger thing, but this is an adult polymer clay class, and I just put in the background Halloween party on, so we'll see.
That bird painting. Yeah, the prison market. A prisoner painted that.
Maybe they don't play any music in it.
Really? Man, I should paint birds. So wait, what am I doing? I hate nursing. I can't be a nurse. I told you that last year.
Okay, so that's not going to work. That is definitely not going to work. Alexa, turn off this movie. Alexa, take me to YouTube. Which she probably won't. Okay, so we're getting ready to add some of this powder. I'm going to mix this gray metallic type powder into this pearlescent white. Whoa, it's nice and glittery, huh? Things that are shiny go bump in the night on Halloween. So I'm just putting a little bit there, and then I'll probably add more clay to it. Trying to get this mixed up good together. Because Halloween, right? If you're using skulls and things like that, and you're going to make little Halloween skull beads, then you need what? You need them to be kind of like they just came out of the dirt or something, or off the ground. So you get that gray look. This is almost silver because of it being a pearlescent white and not just plain white, which I am going to make some plain white skulls in just a minute. This is why I have gloves on. Now you know why. Okay. Towards your hands. So we can your hands at least a bit better. Okay, so I don't have my tablet on again. I need to get it up where I am so that I can see what I'm doing. That's part of the reason for having the tablet on, is because of that. So I can see what my hands are doing. Okay, so my hands are here. Can you see them okay now? Are you able to see this okay? Nay, yay. And see, I have to lean over, Lurch, because, Lurch, that's a good one, because I can't see. When I get off there, I'll be able to beat your cameraman. Okay. So I'll put this on the background. I'll just look around every once in a while. called The Frightening Pagan History of Halloween, full special. So it's going to be playing in the background while I'm creating this. And I need to mush this up with my roller. It's probably better than...
There's no escape. On Halloween, the veil between this world and the next will lift. And then, all hell breaks loose. People have been scaring each other for as long as there's been a Halloween. But how long is that? Where does it come from? And why do we put on disguises?
If you've got headphones on, turn your volume down for the moment so I can get this smushed up.
Unlocking the secrets of Halloween means discovering how it all began. Thousands of years ago. So lock the doors, dim the lights, and don't be scared as we dig up the real story of Halloween. How can you describe Halloween without sounding insane? Masked children come to our doors and threaten us. In return, we give them candy. But why? Why do we carve faces into fruit, then light candles inside them? And why do we adorn our homes with coffins and tombstones? The truth is, we take great pleasure in scaring ourselves to death.
Halloween's about being someone else. It's about getting outside your own skin. And I think we tolerate it because we know it's one night.
Can you see my hands okay?
Of life and of death, and make sport of them. It's ancient, and so are our treasured Halloween traditions. When did Halloween begin?
Its ancient origins go back to the old Celtic calendar. And the old Celtic tribes divided the year between a light half and a dark half.
I'm trying so hard to get this to soften up some.
Holiday was a precursor to our Halloween. It was the beginning of the dark half.
Thousands of years ago, the Celts, one of Europe's early tribes, celebrated their Samhain harvest festival with bonfires on the night of October 31st to welcome their new year.
I'll use this to get the other out. Maybe I can mush it together.
Life and death. If crops failed, people starved. Death was always close.
Happy Halloween, everybody, early. Things should go bump in the night.
There may or may not be enough food to last through the winter, so I think this is where this nightmarish quality possibly comes from.
It's a bit of a warning. You're just going to get cold and dark. Gather together, come home. And don't send anybody out alone in the dark.
Yeah.
But the Celts believed there was even more to Samhain.
What marked Samhain in this transition from light to dark was that time and space became permeable, flexible. And so
I'm still working on softening this clay so that I can start the beads.
Other realities could sort of wander into our reality, and humans could wander out and get lost in the other world as well.
The veil between life and death was at its thinnest, and the living and the dead could commingle. And that's at the root of all the Halloween celebrations.
Stories persist of people on Samhain night getting trapped in the other world, and of the dead appearing among
Are we having
the living.
fun?
But the truth is, we know precious little about Samhain. We can only guess that their bonfires likely drew
And it's
one
called
familiar Halloween icon.
Samhain.
Familiar,
Samhain,
yet frightening to
not Samhain. I don't know, they got a mispronunciation of it, but that was how they called Halloween instead of the word Halloween.
Bats eat insects, and insects are attracted to the light.
Bats come out at night, and nighttime was
That was another thing I was going to do, was make some bats tonight.
part of your Halloween. You might just credit ancient people like the Celts. weren't the
Let me
only
just second
ancient
here.
culture with creepy traditions. Others also looked to their dead.
Many cultures sort of set aside a day or a couple of days to ritually celebrate and recognize the dead.
Yeah, exactly.
The interesting thing is you find a lot of them about the same time period, especially in agricultural societies, because if you think about it, in the spring things come up out of the ground, they're very green.
Give me just a second
Harvest
here.
in the middle of the summer, and towards the fall, and when it gets towards
I'm
winter,
going to try and get me some plain white clay to add to this so it'll soften it up.
But how did these ancient traditions survive into our modern era? In Western culture, they were preserved by, of all people, Christians. In
Ooh,
a bizarre
Christians
twist of
preserved
history, as
Halloween.
Christianity spread, it adopted and reimagined pagan folkways rather than try to stamp them out. This made it easier to convert pagans. A key pagan festival destined to get a Christian makeover was Lemuria, where celebrants placated the dead, culminating on May 13th.
I never even knew that, so there you go.
Of all the different days that they have in the Roman calendar to celebrate the dead, it was the spookiest. So on the Lemuria, what are called the larvae, the ghosts of the departed, would come up and haunt people.
To quell the dead, pagan Romans poured milk onto their graves or offered them little cakes.
Okay, since it is kind of copyrighted, I can't actually do it all, but I can do pieces for you. It gives you an idea of what Halloween's really all about and why we give candy out, and even more. Because candy traditionally was given out during Halloween, believe it or not, and before I saw this. Because gifts were left out. Actually, it was supposed to be left out for the spooks, which meant ghosts back then, folks. And so because of that, they would leave out food and things like that. But candy became the tradition, I guess, as apples and everything else were more appealing. And so during Halloween, people have, I don't know if they do it during any other time, but I know during Halloween they usually have apple bobs and stuff. So they bob for apples in a big bucket of water. And it's my understanding that if you cut the peel off an apple and drop it in a barrel of water, you can get the first initial of your true love. So they say. Are you still with me? I need to put my glasses on. I can't see this little screen, and I cannot get my video to pull up the talk. Are you still here? Looks like I lost 3 people, have 3 thumbs up, and have 3 people in here. I did have 6 people, it said. So I don't know. Anyway, we're still working on this, which I'm adding some white clay to. And we're going to be making these hollow beads, Halloween hollow beads. And we're going to do some skull faces on the hollow Halloween beads. And then I'm going to make skulls, and I hope I'm going to make also a couple of bats. Literally. I'm hoping that this clay will soften up the clay I already have here, which is the other clay. Thank you for everybody coming in. I appreciate you being here with me tonight. I am a jewelry and a canvas artist, and we are just getting down to the bare bones of things, if you want to put it that way. Haha. So, and of course I have some props out, some candles, a skull candle, a tarot book, a candle that's not lit. We're not allowed to have lit candles here, and I didn't realize these fake candles I have actually take a 1.5 volt and not a darn AAA, which is what my old ones used to take, and you had a remote to them. And they're actually rather pretty when they light up. So I'll be doing another Halloween video before this is all over with. This clay is a little bit softer to work with here, so I'm going to mix this clay into this white clay here. And by the time I get through mushing it all around, it'll be the perfect color for Halloween skull button. What I call hollow bead type of a button, clay button. And then we're gonna put them in the oven at about 275 for about 20 minutes to 25 minutes. And then once they're through baking, we'll take them out and let them cool off. And then I'll be using probably some paint. Most likely some of my acrylic paints will work perfect. So it really didn't matter that I didn't have this color, but this will give them more of a sheen, and I like that. So I'm picking up all these crumblies here because I want it all mixed together, folks, and it takes some work to get the clay to soften out. So again, I apologize. Can everybody see that okay? Hopefully you can. Exactly why I'm wearing gloves, because this is so messy. And my advice is to wear gloves also if you're going to do any type of polymer clay where you're using other clays or anything else, unless you want your hands covered in all this mica powder and everything else. I'm trying to pick up all these pieces so I can get them folded into this big lump of plain white polymer clay, which isn't that expensive to purchase either, folks. Not only are we going to be making those beads, but I'm also going to be making some mini skulls by hand, by the way. I don't have any mold for that. It'll all be done by hand. Thank you, everybody, for your patience and everything else tonight. I really appreciate it. I cannot see the screen unless I pull it back around to me. So just say what you got to say and talk to me, and I will catch it, and we will go from there. Yeah. It's actually softening all this clay, and this will help soften the other clay. This is plain white polymer I have right here. This is pearl polymer, which is a little more expensive too, but if you're going to do something, do it nice if you can. It's not any more than anything else, I guess, of what it would cost you to buy something like this out in a Halloween store or something. Probably a whole lot more. Trying to scrape all this up here. But it's getting close to Halloween. It also is one of my cousins, his birthday. Of all things, his birthday's on Halloween. I thought mine was bad because it was on Veterans Day, but he's got it worse than me. Having to share your birthday with all the trick-or-treaters. I think you're going to be really surprised how it all turns out, because it's going to look really nice. It'll be a lot of fun. And it's something you can make at home. It doesn't take a lot of anything, just a little, imagination more than anything. Yeah. So we see this skull here, he has some black and gray in him. And so we're doing the gray here. I could add a little black to this, but I'm not going to do it until I make the small skulls. These are mainly for the hollowed out button which is really it really is a bead. These are actually hollow beads you make with this. I guess you could use anything and do whatever you want. And that mold's made by Sculpty. I got to be honest with you. I think they still have it, but I won't swear on it. And if I can find it, I will put it down in my description at the end of the live. Started late, so we'll probably be here until things go bump in the night. This almost looks like a bone, doesn't it? It almost looks like a bone. Skeleton bone. So I'm just hand rolling it like this to kind of get it all mixed in and soften up as much as possible, because we're going to have it go on that Sculpty bead, oval bead creator. And we need it to be soft enough to put it on there. Okay, let me see how everybody's doing here. Gothica's Little Shop of Horrors. Now that is an amazing person and lady. You should go see their channel, folks. They are amazing. Thank you so much, Gothica. I had to look at my screen because I had technical issues tonight, and it says my tablet will not allow me to pull up the chat because apparently my browser's out of date, and I didn't know that. So, and it's too late right now to try to have to get it to pull it up. So what I have going on, Gothica, is I also have The Frightening Pagan History of Halloween. It's a Halloween special, and I just got it playing in the background. Hopefully I won't get in any trouble for it.
Setting aside this day was an attempt to Christianize this very pagan festival, and yet at the same time what it did was it kept a lot of the same themes going.
The Christianized version of Lemuria was such a success that church leaders made a decision.
All Saints Day on the 13th.
They moved All Saints, or Hallows Day, to
Right.
November 1st.
Isn't that something? November 1st, folks. Wow, that's right in my birthday month. That is so cool.
Fell on the night of October 31st. Before
Somehow.
All Hallows Day on November 1st, people started calling Samhain All Hallows Evening.
Right,
The evening
All Hallows
before
Eve.
All Hallows Day. This shortened into All Hallows Even. And
Yeah.
finally, into
Halloween.
Halloween. And then, to be safe, the church went one step further, adding a holiday to honor not just saints, but everyday Christians. November 2nd became All Souls Day, a church-sanctioned holiday to honor the departed.
I'm rolling this out, folks, just so you know, to kind of soften it up still.
Halloween, because this is where Halloween gets its association with dead souls, death, and the supernatural again.
I'm flattening the bone to make the skull
The
beads.
essentials of Halloween. But wait, there's
And this also
the
has,
church also helped establish the tradition of trick-or-treating, sort of. It all started during the Middle Ages on All Souls Day, when priests told Christians to pray for souls trapped between heaven and hell in a netherworld they called purgatory.
okay, so I gotta ask everybody, can you hear what's playing in the background? Thank you, Gothica, Little Shop of Gothic Horrors. I love your name. You're amazing. So hopefully you can hear what's playing in the background, and as to why we supposedly have Hallows Eve, All Hallows Day, and Halloween. And of course, if you look into what, is it Mexico, Spain or somewhere, they celebrate the Day of the Dead. Yeah. So there's quite a bit. I'm trying to get my light to move because it's right in front. I can't reach my darn clay towel here. Guys, do you have enough light to see what I'm doing? And I cannot see a chat because I have to pull the screen up. Just letting Gothica and everybody know. Hey, everyone, don't forget to, tap like. Well, don't tap. We're not at TikTok. We're on YouTube. So make sure you thumbs up the video. And maybe later, leave a comment on the video after the live's done. I hope you're ready for a bumpy good night, Gothica and Launch, because we are going to be here a little bit because I got started so late, and I am not going to stop because normally I'd be using my pasta machine that actually has a motor for it, but I'm still unpacking, folks, and I've been here for several months now, putting it mildly, but this is the way it is. This is the way it is, and I'm using, this is, Lord, I can't even think. This is Sculpey Fimo, but this actually is a pearl essence polymer clay. It's about a pound of it. And I had to cut it with a knife, so we're really into the, the scary stuff tonight. And then I brought over some plain white Sculpey clay. You can tell I've had my stuff for a while, but that's because I work with it. And this is 1.57 pounds, Sculpey Original. I don't even know if it comes in the same box. But this clay is much softer, and it is truly a white. But how many people have actually seen skulls that are actually white? So I'm still trying to soften this up and get it to like me, because it has all these little chunks, Gothica and everybody, whoever's in here, to let you know. I hope you can see what I'm doing. This has, where is my powder I just put in it? Here it is. It's Jacquard mica powder, and that's what's causing the flakes of silver to like a grayish look. And to me, as you can see, being an artist's point of view, there is some gray in a skull, as well as black. They show black so that the eyes and stuff will stand out. So I'm trying not to shake the heck out of the camera, guys. If you guys are rocking, I'm sorry. So while I'm still trying to get this all softened up here, and I can't burn my candle, Gothica, because where I live, you can't have lit candles. I mean, I could do it, probably get away with it, but God forbid my cat come flying in and give me a present. But this candle here, I did not know that it required a 1.5 volt battery, which I do not have. And I also, there'll be another video. There'll be a part 2, because, so I have tarot books, things to go bump in the night. I even have a, oh my goodness, a Ouija board. So I also want to be making some steampunk earrings with the plachette, I believe is the correct pronouncement, for that little pointy thing that slides all over the board when the spirits talk to you and has the round circle in it. Plachette, I believe is the correct pronunciation for the spirit board. And being that I'm a vegan, I bought myself a vegan shirt, which I do not have on tonight. And it is a black t-shirt with vegan on it. And then it's got yes, no, and all the letters for being vegan. And it's just like a tarot board. Is that right? Yeah, I think that's right. Guys, it's been a while since I've used a spirit board. Okay. It does sort of look like an old bone, doesn't it? Let me just punch it up on the end a little bit and it'll really look like a bone, huh? I'm pulling the phone back, folks. I look hard. I do not have any makeup on. My hair is not done. I had camera problems. Yeah, exactly. Oh, I'm glad it looks good because my tablet, that's why I put the other on. I don't know if you can hear it, Gatka, but I have the frightening pagan history of Halloween full special in the background playing. I mean, people have their TVs on their house when they're making lives, so I just want to know, can you guys hear this while I'm doing this?
Probably pretty fiery. Souls are kind of suffering there. Luckily, there is something that you could do. You could offer up prayers for them.
How did souls get out of purgatory? According to the church, if enough prayers were offered, a soul would fly up into heaven.
Yeah, I'll give you a peek at what you're listening
This
to.
led to a medieval custom that bears more than a striking resemblance to our modern trick-or-treat. Children would go souling, begging for soul cakes, spiced cakes filled with raisins. In return for these treats, the beggars would offer up prayers for souls.
Whoops, can you guys even see that?
While this forerunner to trick-or-treat became a preoccupation for medieval Christians, so did another future essential of Halloween.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. I'm really happy for all of you being here.
It made perfect sense for people in medieval times to believe that there were demons and witches. And if there were demons and witches and they were responsible for bad things in the world, it made sense if you hunt them down and you kill them. That was their worldview.
A witch panic in the 16th century helped establish the look of the character that, for many, epitomizes Halloween. Almost always women, witches were seen as in league with Satan.
They were probably the healers who had cures and folklore passed down orally for generations. And at some point, that becomes very suspicious for whatever reason to the religious people around.
See there, everybody? Let me look at my ugly mug for a minute. That's exactly how a lot of innocent healers got killed. Women who helped because we used herbs and everything else. Hey, Lobo, how are you tonight? We are in the process of rolling out Formica powder, which is made by Jacquard, a gray silvery, along with a plain white polymer clay and some, oh my goodness, pearl white polymer clay because it has sort of a sheen to it. And we're going to be making up some these in case anybody came in a little late because I was late getting here, so it doesn't matter. So happy be Halloween before Halloween, Halloween, or Samhain, or however you prefer to pronounce it. This is a sculpting mold, and I'm going to use this to make some hollow beads, and then we're going to decorate them. And I'm also going to be, I'm hoping I'm going to make a couple skulls tonight, and maybe some bat wings, so that we can have some bat wing earrings and skull. And I was supposed to be making pumpkins too, but I don't know. We're lucky I'm getting this out tonight. So thank you everyone for being here. Guys, don't forget to literally put a thumbs up on my video. It really does help. Don't let them tell you that the algorithm doesn't pay attention to that, because they do. And if you can hear what I'm playing, everybody just give me a yes, would be great. So what is done? Thank you. And I'm gonna turn the thing back on, because as long as it's playing in the background, they can't get you for a television program. We're not airing it. We're just adding it along with the, hopefully the, oh, and by the way, these candles are from the sugar, what do they call them? See, I'm used to just skulls, but these are sugar skulls, and these are from the Day of the Dead, these type of candles. And they are very much used in religion. So it's pretty wild. And so I'm going to turn this back on, and hopefully everyone can hear what it's saying, because it is kind of some cool information. I think people should know the truth instead of thinking
Well,
everybody's bad.
And a lot of the symbols that were associated with these women were probably often lived alone. They have been somewhat eccentric, of course. End up becoming associated with witches.
As more and more women were
Still
accused of
softening my
witchcraft,
clay.
their
Guys,
practical
thank you.
kitchen tools acquired sinister dimensions and became model Halloween icons. Even something as mundane as a broom, as well as handy transportation.
And I'll show you that real quick so you can hopefully see the witch on the broom in front of the moon. Yep. And then I'm going to tell you some things that I think everyone should know. If you're really into Halloween and you really want to know, besides healers and midwives, I believe they were called. Those were women who were, you know, dunked in the water, and if they drowned, they were innocent. If they didn't, they were evil. So it's something. And if they didn't admit that they were a witch, they could also be their life taken. A lot of them would admit to guilt to not die. And those who didn't admit to the guilt likely lost their life. And by the way, the broom is a symbol for sending your wishes east, west, north, south. And you tell me, Gothika, if I'm wrong. Because I'm a little bit of an old lady, and I come from the old pagan school. And that's what it was used for. So it's so funny. And they were just everyday tools, like they said, in the house. And there are what they call kitchen witches too. Now, they didn't have all that back then. But just think what it would have been like if you made dehydrated some onions out in the sun back then, because you didn't have a dehydrator. There was no electricity back then. And you did that, right? And then you added some herbs to it to help people maybe with a sore throat or something else. And all of a sudden they got well. Or if it was something worse and it was something that couldn't be cured with a little bit of old-fashioned hot soup or broth, then it was thought that you were, you know, the devil worshiper, the witch. But then again, if you cured people with all these herbs and everything, they thought that too. So I don't know how you win. You didn't win back then. It was horrible. And it was mainly women. They did also torture and murder men along with them. I guess that's where the word warlock comes from now. But yes, they did. They had male witches that they killed. They killed husbands and wives together too, and children, not just adults. So hopefully you can hear everything through my thing that keeps bipping off on my phone. I'm so sorry. I'll fix all that in the future. But we are going to be having more than one part one Halloween kind of thingy. And in those later ones, I'm going to try and do some also some steampunk sort of witchy goth stuff. And look, I got all month for Halloween, folks. You can celebrate it for the whole month. So how's everybody doing? I'm trying to see. I can't see my screen otherwise. Okay, so we're going to, and thank you.
Another accessory in every witch's lair was perfect for brewing.
We're just going to play this in the background while I get these shaped on here. And then when I get to the details of all of it, I will stop the video so that you can hear only me. I'm going to start with a smaller one.
Of course, the mysterious lurking killer with the glowing eyes, the cat.
Yes, the evil cat.
Cats are associated with witches and Halloween. Cats can be a little enigmatic. You don't really know what's going on in their head. Also, they used to hang out near the hearth and by the brooms, so they became associated with witchcraft and with Halloween.
Black cats and witches, graveyards and ghosts.
I think I made that a little too thin. It stuck. Sorry about that.
Taking shape. These
Grab up some extra clay here.
Create the extravaganza we know today.
Look at that awesome crow too, by the way.
Worshipping the dead, begging for treats. The elements of our modern Halloween were haunting Europe at the dawn of the 17th century, but they hadn't yet collected into a spooky, secular holiday. History would now start consolidating them and give life to an odd celebration of death.
It's death that makes this holiday. Whether it's the threat of death if there is a bad harvest, the end of one order and the beginning of a new, this idea of the endless cycle of life and death and renewal is part of a lot of holidays, not just Halloween.
This period saw the continued influence of one of Halloween's most colorful icons, the mask.
Oh, and that's another thing we're going to do, folks, that we haven't done yet. We're going to actually do some mask with clay, and also I'll be using probably styrofoam and cardboard to do it, because you have to have something for that clay to hold on to. But that is in a future video, not now. I am trying to get this where it will fit over this sculpty bead thing so that we can get these beads started. Folks, I'm so sorry it's so late. I really didn't mean to come in this late. It's just the way things worked out. You can see what I'm doing here instead of having my hands pulled back there. Sorry, I'm sitting about 2 feet away from my table because of where I have my lighting and stuff tonight, which is not normally the case. I'm usually right up on it. So I'm going to take this, and like I told you earlier, we're going to use these because I don't have my my darn pasta machine with the motor on it right now. It's buried somewhere in my boxes still. So we're going to use this. These actually will show they'll make the thickness of the bead. You can go 1, 2, 3, 4, however high or low you want this, but we don't need it but so thin because I want it to go over those, but we want it a little thin. Sorry, I really need to clean my thing here. I don't know why this clay is sticking to this, because it is not that hot in here, folks. So let me try it here and see if it works better. Probably would help too if I clean my roller. Could everybody see that at all? What I was doing? I'm having to look around the camera, Gothka, because I don't have a screen right now to be able to see what you guys are saying. Oh, that's so awesome. Well, there won't be anything I say that's bad, so it's up to you. That's as long as they're with you and you have control, that's all that counts. Does your 1-year-old son even know what Halloween is? This is really sticking, and it shouldn't be. I do advise wearing some type of gloves, inexpensive, you know. To keep your hands protected, because polymer clay is not that forgiving any more than the powders are either. Okay, so, and by the way, you can use glass beads in polymer clay and bake it. I don't advise plastic ones because it'll probably break. Normally I have some cornstarch to put on this so it doesn't stick, but we're gonna do our best. And I'm going to go ahead and start with this one, I think. And these are not supposed to be perfect, by the way, these beads, because they're supposed to be Halloween-y and skull looking, which is what I'm going to try to create. I do not have a skull thing. I'm going to use this, cut straight down here. Normally I have a clay razor, so folks forgive me for these tools that I'm using tonight. And I will turn that back on. I'm just trying to show you what I'm doing. These are going to be, this is a sculpting mold, by the way, and this is to make hollow beads. And you can do these two-sided too, which I'm thinking about, but tonight we may only get to one side because it is so late. I don't want to keep everybody in here, you know, for more than what doesn't go bump in the night. I just use my fingers, kind of shape it around. And I don't know if you can tell, Gothica and everybody, right there in the background that I'm pointing at with my knife is a toaster oven, and that's what we're going to use to bake the clay in on this. And then we're going to come over here afterwards in order to resin them, and we're going to use this, which is a resin light that you put your stuff on and put it under, and then it will use UV resin, not two-part resin, which is usually, I use a hard resin, is normally what I use. So I'm going to have to look back around. Can everybody hear me okay? Oh, awesome. Thank you, Launch. You're so funny. Oh, an LED in the eyes for the light would be cool. Yeah, it would be cool, but I guess you could do that. I don't have any LED lights. I do have some, but they're buried away. All right. So, Gothica, tell me, so I know, because I'm not that bright sometimes, what's the 104 for? Oh, it's 104 already. No, it's only, where are you at? Oh, Gothica, by the way, everyone, I believe she's in United Kingdom, where, oh my goodness, where one of my favorite other Gothic ladies is. Lord, I can't even think tonight, Gothica. But you guys are in the United Kingdom, so your middle of the morning would be our, just beginning our night. And the afternoon would be here, you would be late at night, just 10 or 11, I'm guessing. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate that. I know that that's late for you. So I'm trying to shape this around this Sculpey, and by no means am I sponsored by them. I'm trying to shape this around this bead here, because then I'm going to add the face on here. These have to be baked, so if you were going to, you could absolutely put LED lights in them. But I would say after you created them, however you want them to look, make sure you bake them first and then seal them in resin. And then you could put the lights maybe up behind them. Trying to cut this like a, to go around this so that it's more, got around, fits the bead more, should say that, the mold of the bead. So Gothica, do you have trick-or-treaters where you are? Did trick-or-treaters come out? I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here. Normally I'm wire wrapping and doing torch work, but I love working with polymer clay. It's a lot of fun, and it's a way to create things a little bit less expensive. I wouldn't say everything is less expensive just because it's polymer clay. The time it takes you and everything else. Okay, so now we have created the outside of this. And now I'm going to, see, it even popped up. It shouldn't have popped up. It's got to be on the top of that bead because I need it to stay there so that I can do the skull. And I got to take my gloves off for a moment, folks. My hands are sweating like crazy. I need glove break. And I'll turn back on this background about Halloween on.
It often appeared in tandem with another Halloween tradition, destructiveness. Rowdy beggars at All Hallows Eve also guzzled their share of alcohol, and demands for food and drink became more threatening. Masks helped hide their identities. These boundaries between the living and the dead, and between society's rules and anarchy, were tested as day turned to night on All Hallows Eve.
In Britain, they got into some very particular forms that involved dressing in costumes and going house to house to present these little plays. And at the end of the performance, they would be rewarded with food and sometimes money.
Was this trick or treat? Not quite, but the resemblance was there. In 17th century England, many of these customs survived only in rural areas, but they would soon turn up in the city streets, thanks to a pro-Catholic terrorist named Guy Fawkes. On November 5th, 1605, Fawkes tried to blow up London's House of Lords with 36 kegs of gunpowder.
Guy Fawkes was tried, found guilty, and hanged. And according to legend, his body was then drawn and quartered, and the pieces were thrown into a fire.
The next year, on the anniversary of the failed plot, and every year that followed, the children of London mocked the memory of Guy Fawkes by causing chaos in the streets, parading, begging, and building bonfires. Today, all over England, this is called Guy Fawkes Day, or Bonfire Night.
Now, Guy Fawkes Day fell on November 5th, which is very close to Halloween, so a lot of the energy that was focused on Halloween sort of shifted toward Guy Fawkes Day.
While it wasn't our Halloween yet, it had all the signs. Children and adults alike taking advantage of the darkness and letting loose. But would this pagan form of celebration make its way across the Atlantic to disrupt the sanctuary of the New World? Not if colonial Puritans had their way.
The Puritan worldview was very much informed by the Bible, and in the Bible you do find not only God, but the devil, demons, angels, the whole sort of spread of supernatural beings. This is really what they're focused.
Okay, so I have to play this in pieces so I don't get in trouble. But I think it's rather interesting. What do you guys think? Scorpions? Launch is a good guy. Gothica, by the way, he's a really nice guy. Good friend. Okay, so we're going to see if I can create... This is going to be interesting, folks, because I have never done a skull face on a bead like this. Now I'm putting back my sweaty glove on. I do advise gloves, though. And I'm also going to add, yeah. Goodness, open up. It's my evil eye beads. Everybody know what these are for, to keep the evil eye away? Three. I'm trying to see how many it's going to take. I want to put them all around the edge of the skull, which I thought would look kind of cool. I don't know. What does everybody else think? I don't know how many it's going to actually take. These are glass. They are hand-blown glass evil eye beads.
Focus on pernicious evil forces.
For the Puritans of New England, the supernatural was a dark, menacing force, not a harmless superstition worthy of inspiring a holiday. Despite their efforts to kill the Halloween tradition before it took hold, there were a few Guy Fawkes celebrations that made their way to the shores
Before
of
I put the
America.
evil eye beads on there,
Other settlers tolerated or even embraced the traditions that threatened the Puritans. And seeds were planted for the holiday that would morph into our American Halloween.
You find snippets here and there, people celebrating or having a costume party or something, but it's very difficult to actually pin that to something we would call a capital H Halloween.
yeah, I'm trying to get my chair up here closer.
For example, there's an 1833 description of a Halloween, not even so much a party, but just a small gathering where they told ghost stories around a fire.
But now, one more spooky standby. The image of a spirit or ghost would join witches and skeletons in a macabre Halloween dance. By the mid-19th century, America was primed for a much darker holiday.
Civil War.
4 long years of civil war that ended in 1865 with over 500,000 dead.
There were so many unclaimed, unknown dead bodies that the Civil War left behind that this country was obsessed with death. And mostly it was that so many of these soldiers died unknown. We don't know what happened to them. So there was a huge sense of they could come back. Maybe they're not dead. It makes perfect sense that people would tell more ghost stories. And the very first Halloween ghost stories were about people coming back home.
It's at this time that America's Halloween story really begins. After the Civil War, when Scots and Irish immigrants brought their rural, Old World Halloween customs with them, they helped to establish even more American Halloween traditions.
For the Scots, it was a little bit of a scarier night. Until fairly late, we're still talking about the appearance of bogies on Halloween.
Bogies, or boogeymen, were sort of amorphous, pestering ghosts that plagued children, hiding under beds or tapping on windows, or lurking by a gate or turnstile.
There was a belief that there was a bogey.
Okay, so I'm going to stop it for that for right this minute, because I can tell you that Halloween was celebrated in my household big time. My mom always wrapped me up as a mummy or something and had me crawling out of a carpenter, cardboard coffin. And I'm going to tell you, half the kids didn't get their candy. They were so terrified. My mom loved it. Yeah, I'm trying to get my chair up here, folks. Give me just a second. Forgive me for moving you off what I'm doing. My chair is caught on my plastic thing here. Well, maybe it's not. Maybe it's just not rolling for some reason. Okay. All right. So what does everybody think about Halloween, huh? Everybody love Halloween? Thank you, Gothica. We're so happy to have you here tonight. Yeah, there are. And by the way, talk about scorpions. That's my birth sign. I'm a Scorpio. So I have here right at the moment, because we're going to make the skull face on this bead here. These are actually 2 smoked crystals. And we're going to make those the eyes for the, as I call him, Mr. Bojangles, the skeleton. So let's see how good I do here. Because after I do that, I've got to put a deeper, I don't know how deep I can go on this bead though. Can you guys still see okay? I need to make these eye parts kind of hollow. I'm going to press down on that one, and then I'm going to pull these out and take one of my stylus and enlarge where they're going to actually go into. But this is where I'm trying to line it up. The word is trying to line it up. And it is with the gray in there, and then the white, and the pearl essence polymer in there. It gives it a real dirty look, which is how it should look. It's a skull. Awesome. Oops. That was me, not my cat. Let's see if I can get these glass crystal eyes out of here now without damaging it. I probably should have made the ball part first, but you know, I never do things proper. I always do everything BS backwards. That's why I say this is no child's channel. But there isn't too much that's said or done during my time of making things that would even be considered offensive to a child. Because, well, I've got to press that down in there. Sort of went too deep. Can you guys see where this is right here? And that's what I'm doing with the ball cylinder. And we'll see how these lay in here now. The crystal, they're smoked crystals, quartz crystals. And they'll sort of be poking out a little bit. I guess I could put them sideways. But I like them a long way, so. I don't have my tweezers here. So if my fingers get in the way, I'm sorry. There we go, there's one. And then 2. This will look like more before it's all over with, folks. It just looks not so much right this second. We're getting there. We're getting there. Okay, so we need to make some eyebrows, which are these, the bones. Everybody see Mr. Bojangles there? We need to make those eyebrows in this. I'm going to move these out of the way. And let's see, I guess I'm going to cut small strips so that I can make the eyebrows on here. Can everybody see okay? I'm not sure, and I'll have to look back again and then put it back over there. One, I'm going to do two. So to cut them at an angle. And then I'm going to cut it down that way, and then cut it down that way. Sorry, not up here where I should be. So, and I will cut this again. See how the eyebrow is? When it gets done even more, it'll be even better. It's just taking a minute to get it shaped. I want to get this a little bit above there, not so much down on the eye there. Okay, I'm going to cut that piece off. Trying to be gentle because I only have so much thickness on this bead to do this. I promise it'll look even better. It's just going to take a minute to do this. And I will put this on while I'm doing that, designing the eyebrows, and then we will work on the nose and the mouth.
Bogey on every style, which meant on Halloween night you could cross any gate and there might be something sitting there waiting to get you.
Halloween's signature symbol, the jack-o'-lantern, also began as a European tradition. But the prototype wasn't carved from a pumpkin.
There's a great legend about a character named Jack-o'-lantern.
And Jack was a troublemaker, but he was so bad he even managed to get himself thrown out of hell, which is not an easy thing to do.
But the devil did decide to have pity on him and scooped up an ember from the fires of hell and gave it to him.
So Jack takes the ember and he puts it inside a hollowed out turnip. And it walks around, and that becomes the legend of Jack-o'-lantern.
In one age-old European practice, children would carve their own jack-o'-lanterns out of turnips and light them with candles.
The first reference we have in the United States to Jack-o'-lantern comes from Nathaniel Hawthorne. And he's writing in Twice Told Tales, and he's describing someone's very tattered coat full of holes, and when you hold it up to the light, it shines like a jack-o'-lantern would.
Americans improved on the jack-o'-lantern tradition. They substituted big, round pumpkins for the old world's hard little turnips, and Halloween finally had its trademark.
Certainly by the time of the Civil War, the expressive possibilities of pumpkin carving were very well known. That ghostly, shrunken skull was the turnip in the old country, had really blossomed into something else.
Pumpkins are generally harvested around Halloween, and kids realized jack-o'-lanterns could be a prankster's best weapon on Halloween night.
Kids figured out this great thing they could do. They could take a pumpkin and you could hollow it out and you put a candle in it. And then you take that pumpkin and you put it on a stick and you put a sheet over it. And you parade around, you put it in front of a window or something, and it's really a pretty scary picture.
Jack-o'-lanterns soon became the face of Halloween. But Scots and Irish immigrants also brought with them the more rambunctious, stone-throwing, prank-playing Halloween reveling to America. And on Halloween night, at the dawn of the 20th century, there was a whole dark world of trouble just waiting for American boys. Halloween had been on a dark and scary journey from its origins with the Celts centuries ago. In the Middle Ages, it became a Christian holiday honoring the dead. But by the 16th century, it was turning into a rowdy kids' celebration, marked by begging and pranks. By the 1800s, Halloween had even moved into cities and towns across America. But the ghastly face of Halloween was reimagined in gruesome shades of orange and black at the turn of the 20th century. For the first time, artists of the era brought together all things scary and linked them to Halloween. Skeletons and spiderwebs, jack-o'-lanterns and bats. They established the look of Halloween that we still use today. Among these icons are white-sheeted ghosts.
The sheet that a ghost wears derives from the winding sheet, the shroud that corpses were traditionally wrapped in before burial.
And jack-o'-lanterns.
The big grin still connotes the rictus of a death's head, as does the triangular nose hole, and even when it seems kind of jolly, death is still lurking there in the imagery.
Okay, so what does everybody think so far? I am of German, Russian, Scot-Irish descent. And maybe that's why my mom liked Halloween so much. I don't know. Okay, so if you guys can see what I'm doing, I added on for this, we're making a skeleton is what we're making. And it's a skeleton bead. Later, I'm going to do skeleton, literally making little skulls and stuff. And of course, a traditional bead here, all goopy looking, black and red. Traditional colors, black, red, and orange of Halloween. It sort of just gives you an idea of how Halloween got started, where the jack-o'-lantern came from. It also is the reason why they leave treats and all that, so that what? It's really left so that none of the evil spirits will bother you during the Halloween. That is what it actually was really done for. So when people put jack-o'-lanterns out on their front porch, I'm sure they had no idea that kids would come along and break them and everything else. It's always some bad kids everywhere sometimes. And some adults too, so it's not necessarily. If you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm actually hooking in a jump ring in the top of this bead, so once it bakes, I don't have to drill a hole. There'll be a jump ring there so it can be worn on a necklace or even on a headpiece. So I'm trying to get this, sort of added that on there so it'll hold in. So when it bakes, it'll actually bake into the skull. And then you can use these, which are these little ball things here. They're used for making, well, to smooth as well as to give texture. It's weird because I can hear myself talking in the living room on my other TV. Okay, so I'm just trying. This could almost pass for a mummy, but I promise you it's going to be a skull before it's all over with. It is going to take a minute to do it. It's not exactly... How's everyone doing tonight? Do you have trick-or-treaters over there where you are, Gothica? Do you have trick-or-treaters where you and Star Raven are? I knew I'd get her in my head. I'm subscribed to her channel. There we go. That way it puts the eyes sunken back in. I guess I could have used what? Black beads instead of smoked crystals, but I just like the color of these and they're pretty. I'm sort of smoothing this out because I'm going to put some crack lines in here, just like there are in that skull right there. And then, of course, I'm just going to go a little bit further down here so that I can get his nose cavity in here. I need that a little deeper there, so I'm going to figure this out. It's the first time I ever did a skull on a bead before, folks, so... How's everybody doing tonight? Thank you so much for being here with me and being patient. I really appreciate it. And thank you, Gothica. And thank you for bringing your son along with you. Okay. I'm going to have to do some cheekbones here too so that he looks more like a skull and not like that. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. Thank you so much, Gothica. Oh, that's so cool, Gothica. That is really cool. So I'm going to let this play in the background. I have to run because I didn't bring something in with me, which was I'm going to use my art, alcohol ink art, so that I can get his nose blacked in on this, and we can go from there, adding some more black besides the gray, because the gray just doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't seem to show as much as I'd like it to, but I do have that, it's hard to see, but I actually have an eyelid, and then the other one's going to get an eyelid, and then we're going to work on his nose. I may have to make that nose a little smaller, it may be too big, and then we're going to work on the cheekbones and the teeth. which, by the way, the teeth will be made too. So it's not going to be just cut in there. There'll actually be teeth put on this. So here we go. Enjoy, and I will be back.
Medieval depictions of Satan. Witches, from witch hunting hysteria that swept through Europe and Puritan America.
Witches became very popular in the early part of the 20th century, which is why they naturally became linked to Halloween. There's actually a change in the way we perceive witches. The witches of the 19th century were old, they had big noses, there were warts, and the witches in the 20th century are actually kind of attractive. It makes Halloween just a little, not only scary, but also a little naughty.
But even as Halloween was addressing its old customs in new costumes, it was also creating new traditions. Bad ones. Halloween in the early 20th century getting out of hand. To the dismay of authorities.
I'll be back, folks. Give me a moment.
Owners, the answer
Enjoy
was
this
yes.
while I go get my other crafting stuff.
A bunch of mischief. Back in those days, people had buggies. The bigger kids tried to take a buggy and put it up on a haystack. And there's about a half a dozen of the guys, and they just kind of pushed it up the haystack. It was a lot of fun. Oh, we never did anything that was really destructive. Mostly tricks.
But for others, those tricks were more destructive. Pranks, usually committed by adolescent boys, plagued cities like Chicago and Philadelphia. By the 1920s, Halloween in America was turning into a crisis. Tricks on Halloween night were out of hand.
The destructive pranks went beyond just smashing pumpkins. Kids would take bars of soap and they'd put them in the rails for streetcars so that the streetcars would derail and people would actually get hurt. They would take the steps in front of people's doors and move them so when people walked outside they would fall over and get hurt. They would set fires. They would throw stones through windows. I mean, this is really destructive stuff.
In rural communities, pranksters took wagons apart and reassembled them on roofs. They removed gates on farm fences so that animals could escape. This particular prank was so popular that in some places the night before Halloween was called Gate Night. In other cities it was Mischief Night, or even Hell Night. Halloween pranks during the Great Depression may have been, in part, a product of the desperation of the time, an excuse for troublemaking. But there was already trouble everywhere, and many communities couldn't afford to feed their own, much less clean up destructive messes.
The Halloween of 1933 was actually labeled Black Halloween in a lot of newspapers because of all of the destruction that the cities incurred. The kids were no longer just doing innocent, silly things. Now they were smashing light bulbs. They were setting fire to buildings. They were smashing car windows.
If Halloween were to survive, it would have to change.
Schools and police departments and other civic groups consciously and very actively promoted the idea of taming Halloween.
And so they started to invent all sorts of things for kids to do, to divert them. Town-wide parties, costume contests, games, everything that you could think of to get the kids away from pulling tricks and into the light.
Novelty companies like Dennison and Beistel helped out these civic efforts. Dennison published a series of Halloween guides called Bogey Books that suggested ways of turning Halloween from a prank night into a party night.
Dennison was one of the first companies that realized there was money to be made off of Halloween. They started to put their own Halloween materials out for retail sale in drugstores all over America.
They also made masks and paper costumes. This was a first. It was the first time that costumes were specifically made and marketed for Halloween. Before that, costumes had all been homemade.
When I was a kid, it wasn't Halloween outfits like you wear now. So basically you wore your overalls or your jeans or sloppy clothes, but you didn't go downtown and buy a special outfit just for Halloween. Just anything, to make yourself a little conspicuous.
Paper costumes were fancy and an improvement on the homemade variety, but they had their drawbacks.
Unfortunately, a lot of that paper was flammable, and I was surprised at how many newspaper clippings I came across of costumes catching fire.
Soon, other manufacturers, looking to tap into the kid market for Halloween costumes, began making more durable disguises.
Sears' first box costumes came around 1930, and then it went from there. And the costumes came off of radio show characters and the funny papers. Costumes for parties, costumes for wild, town-wide parties, and for school parties and church parties. Halloween was a big social occasion.
Halloween parades also helped drag the holiday out from the shadows and into the public arena. Allentown, Pennsylvania may have had the first parade in 1905, but others soon followed. Toms River, New Jersey in 1919. Anoka, Minnesota in 1920. Anoka has held its parade every year since. In fact, the city now bills itself the Halloween capital of the world. Each of these local efforts to tame Halloween worked to some extent. But what Halloween really needed was a whole new tradition, and it would soon get one. But this new tradition would prove to be a variation on a very own Halloween theme.
Okay. I don't know if my cat enlightened you and ran across my stuff while I was gone. I have no idea. But she was sitting in my chair when I came back. She thinks this is her desk. Thank you for your patience. I have to pull it off every once in a while. I don't want them to get me for copyright. So I'm going to use gray and black alcohol ink markers. Hopefully it will stay in show because I wouldn't be able to paint them until the end, after they've baked. This is a black marker. And I'm going to work on the other eye on the other side in a minute. So you can see why it's not going to really matter, but it will at least give this the depth it needs. There we go. And then we're going to put one little hole there and one there. Not perfect because it's only out of plastic. Could it be so perfect? So how's everybody doing? Do you like the Halloween stuff about history? So, oh, that's cool. Gothica, that is so cool. You should put that on your channel. Everybody needs to go see Gothica on her channel and, you know, follow, like, subscribe her. And when she has a live, try to show up. She's a pretty neat person. So I'm going to try to get there's supposed to be a ridge in the middle of this nose because it's where the bone is. I'm doing the best I can, folks. I've never made a bead of a skull on a bead thing. Oh. Okay, not perfect, but and I'm going to work on the cheekbones. It's going to be right in here. And I've got to do another eyebrow on the other side. Hopefully everybody can see what I'm doing. If you can't stay up, don't worry about it. You can always come back and watch it, rewatch it. Just remember to like and share. And if you'll please, please, please leave a comment once the live is over when you come back, if you're coming back to rewatch. Because it takes it a couple hours to get loaded up on YouTube, unfortunately. Oh, now I'm using bare hands because my hands are sweating so bad inside those gloves. Hopefully everybody can see what I'm doing. And I can't believe somebody's calling my phone. Okay. There's another eyelid there. Not perfect, but I promise you the skulls will be. And if you're not here to watch it, it's going to be in 2 parts. There's no way. It's taken me forever just to get this to go like it should. And I apologize. And I apologize for being so late. Just using like a alcohol ink marker. Wow. He's got a big snook. But I've got to get it straightened out. So let's see if I can use these to adjust and get that ridge in the middle. Thank you, Gothica Launch, and everybody for being here. I really appreciate it. And we're going to do a line right here underneath the nose. And then I'm going to build the cheekbones up. It should be amusing because I've got to have these going around the bottom of the eyes also. this as small as I can for underneath the eye. And I'm going to cut that right there. I'm going to also add some more black in there. And we haven't even added the cheekbones yet. So I'm hoping that that will bring us out a little more. Can everybody see okay? I apologize because I don't have a camera thing to look. I hope so too for you, Gatka. That's great. We've only been on here, what, 211 minutes? And I have not even gotten the skull finished because I've been doing the other two. Launch, are you still here with us? That's the bottom of the eye socket, I called it, you know, but that's what it really is. I definitely know I'll be sleeping in today, at least for a little while. I'm going to use this ball stylus again. Smooth that out and smooth it in there. Hopefully everybody can see what I'm doing. It's almost looking, because I don't have cheekbones and I'm not used to doing a skull on here, it's almost looking like some kind of a mummy or something, but that's all right. We'll see how the rest goes. It's not my best work, but it won't be my last, and it will get better. So I'm going to turn back on the background, and while I work on these other pieces here and get it going.
Trick or treat. That phrase still triggers cascades of candy into plastic pumpkins and pillowcases across America on the night of October 31st. And though the custom goes back centuries, the phrase trick or treat is probably less than 100 years old.
Trick or treat is amazingly new. People think trick or treat goes back for centuries, and it doesn't. Trick or treat is actually less than 80 years old, probably. The term derives from pranking that was very widespread and destructive in America in the 20th century. And at some point, somebody came up with the brilliant idea of buying off these pranksters.
Homeowners bribed rowdy kids with homemade treats, such as popcorn balls and candy apples, to avoid getting pranked or tricked. In 1939, the phrase and the custom turned up in print.
Doris Hudson Moss published an article in American Home magazine that talked about the success she had having a Halloween open house for the kids in her neighborhood. She didn't get tricked. She gave them sweets. It all worked.
With the new custom came new treats. Not so much homemade goodies like popcorn balls. Now kids got store-bought, pre-packaged candies. Mars bars, Reese's cups, and good old Hershey's chocolate. Candy finally killed the rowdy Halloween. And now the time was right for the reinvented holiday to hit Hollywood.
You guys!
Halloween was becoming a pop culture phenomenon, a national festival attended by millions, celebrating the joy.
Thank you, everybody, again for being here.
Produced candy.
I loved Halloween when I was a kid.
And for those hanging out in the wee hours that things go bump.
I loved the mischief of it. I loved going to houses and dressing up and getting candy, and then there were parties, and it was just fantastic.
Then in 1966, Halloween found a home where all pop culture ultimately goes. TV. Halloween's stature zoomed off the charts when America went trick-or-treating with Charlie Brown.
The whole idea of the Great Pumpkin, of course, came from the comic strip when Sparky Schultz decided that it would be very funny if one of the kids got his holidays mixed up. And so that's how Linus ends up in the pumpkin patch every year.
Who are you writing to, Linus? This is the time of year to write to the Great Pumpkin. On Halloween night, the Great Pumpkin rises out of his pumpkin patch and flies through the air with his bag of toys for all the children. He must be crazy. When are you going to stop believing in something that is...
See, that I have to cut because it is a major thing. So, me too. I love skull stuff. In fact, I may not get all this done tonight or even get this in the oven, but I'm going to show you how to make a polymer clay skull, which isn't that hard. You just round it out in a ball and then sort of press it down a little flat like that. And then you're going to squeeze the sides in and down so that you can get his chin right there. And then press back. And you can almost see the skull forming just from this. So I want it a little more rounder than this. I'm not quite pleased with that, so give me a second here. I'm going to try to get this is going to be hard to do with my hands like this. We'll use a smaller ball. And you press down like that. And then like that. Well, his mouth a little off there, but and then I have to get his nose in there, which is a problem because I didn't make this big enough. Try it again. Usually I can make these point on, Gothica, so I apologize. I'm not having a night tonight. It's mid-morning, that's why. I know it got all quiet, didn't it? I had to turn it down on that part because of being that it was
Expensive, high-end
major
mask that almost
Hollywood.
rivals movie quality. And Wayne Toth would know. He's a special effects artist for major motion pictures. We have a lot of customers that like higher-end stuff or high-quality stuff, so we go out of our way to get that. We have high-end costumes, fancy jackets, and all kinds of accessories you really couldn't find anywhere else. We try and make it so no matter what you're looking for, you can find it here. Today's upscale masks and costumes are a far cry from the generic devils, witches, skeletons, and ghosts of the 1960s. But that's the decade when the Halloween wardrobe began to change. Hollywood started to influence what kids wore, transforming them into their favorite TV and movie characters. Today, that trend has escalated to an obsession. Film franchises like A Nightmare on Elm Street, Scream, and Halloween are inspiring growing legions of kids to dress to kill.
To wear the mask of the killer or of the ghost, of the skeleton, it gives a kid a sense of a lot of power and also of safety. Because the monster can't get you if you are the monster for that moment.
Crazed killer masks are just part of Halloween's evolving taste in costumes. The only rule now is that there are no rules. Masks take their inspiration from pop culture, religion, politics, you name it. And a growing number of faces behind them belongs not to kids, but adults.
Halloween has become a huge adult activity, and I don't think that was the case 50, 60 years ago. But it's been, again, specifically set aside where you can be somebody that you normally aren't. You can get behind a mask, you can wear clothes you would never wear during the rest of the year, and people enjoy these.
Truth is, our 21st century Halloween is as much a holiday
Sorry,
for
my hands
adults
are
as
out.
it is a holiday for kids.
Well, it's not perfect, but I actually am going to work on some more of these for you. I've made much better skulls. It's just too much tonight.
Holiday.
Halloween businesses now cater to anyone who wants to get into the spirit of the holiday, with parties and Halloween-themed menus such as open houses.
50 years ago, when you were too old to trick or treat, you probably had to stay home and hand out candy. There was nothing else for you to do. Now there is a vast and imaginative haunted house industry just for you. And there's something like 4,000 haunted houses in the United States every year.
I loved haunted houses. It fascinated me. They terrified me as a kid.
But haunted
Cheekbones.
houses aren't the only place to
It's
find
going to take
adults
a while.
getting out on Halloween. In places like New York City's Greenwich Village Halloween Parade and West Hollywood's Halloween Carnival, the holiday takes a walk on the wild and naughty side.
Of course, the gay Halloween parade is now a big fixture in San Francisco, in Los Angeles, and of course a big part of the New York celebration. But it's this idea of turning the world on its head and being who you aren't or would like to be. Again, it's that mercurial American obsession with self-transformation. And that's the thing I think that really ignited Halloween in America.
This sexually liberated Halloween sometimes crosses the line from adults to adults only.
If you look at the costumes that are sold to adults these days, the costumes for women are all kind of borderline prostitute costumes. You know, the sexy nurse, the sexy maid, the sexy anything.
Now, grown-ups are taking it one step further. They stock up on specially packaged Halloween novelty candy and join their children going door to door on Halloween night. These trick-or-treaters of the 1970s and 80s now seize the opportunity to relive their childhood Halloweens, dressing in full costume, supposedly to keep a watchful eye on their kids. And just as Halloween has scared kids for years, Halloween scares parents too. They fear sending their kids out unsupervised into a hostile world, full of poisoned candy and razor blade riddled apples. But they really shouldn't be.
I grew up hearing about razor blades and apples myself, and it's clearly what we would call a contemporary legend. Another term is urban legend. There's a great societal unease about this idea that we're telling our kids to go take candy from strangers. So there's a lot of stories about razor blades and candied apples and these sorts of things. And parents every year get very, very worried about it. Did razor blades and apples ever happen? I believe there are a couple of cases, but of course you can ask which came first, the story or the actions.
Razor blades in apples, jack-o'-lanterns, soul cakes. They make up the legends, the texture of the Halloween we know. Today, Halloween wears many masks. It's a day for adults to push their boundaries a little.
Clearly, a lot of women want to have a very sexy side of them, and it's only on Halloween that they bring it out. Maybe, they could do a little more often.
Yet Halloween still remains the domain of kids.
When you're a kid, you had one night a year where you were in charge. You got to dress up. You got to be something that you usually weren't. And you kind of even got paid for the privilege of this. It was an amazing holiday.
Halloween doesn't like to have its energies tamed. It's the rebellious aspect's going to pop up somewhere.
Look close enough, and you'll see that Halloween is a showcase of everything the human race fears. Through the centuries, we've learned to live with what scares us most.
Sorry, I got to pull this back to me.
October 31st, we turn our fears into fun. So beware of haunted houses and creaking doors, billowing sheets and full moons. And don't be surprised if a smiling jack-o'-lantern wishes you Happy Halloween.
Okay, so that's that. Hopefully I didn't bore everybody to death or scare them with my Halloween introduction. This should have been started much sooner, much earlier. You guys are so awesome. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for the thumbs up. I really appreciate it. I am going to do a part 2 where you guys can see the skulls made. I just need to be able to sit closer to my work and do it. And it just wasn't happening tonight. But it's close. It's close. And this bead will be finished hopefully by tomorrow. I don't want you guys to have to stay up any later. It's, I don't know, probably 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning where you are, Gothica, and it's after 12 here. But I promise you, you will be amazingly surprised when I get done what it's going to look like. It will be amazing, I promise. So anyway, I really appreciate everybody coming out and hanging out. Thank you. And I loved having you here. It means so much. Everybody, if you get a chance, make sure you go check out Gothica's channel and check out what she does. She's an amazing artist. All right, folks, and Launch and everybody else, whoever's in here, happy Halloween early. And there'll be more coming. This is just the tip of the cake. I don't know. They said they gave out soul cakes. So anyway, I hope everybody had a great time. I apologize for not being able to get more done. I don't even know if my cat made a ghost appearance while I was out trying to get the black marker. But this will be created. This will look like a skeleton when I'm done. So I really appreciate everybody hanging out. I don't want to have you here any longer because it's way too long as it is. But I had a ball having you here. I enjoyed, sharing what Halloween was kind of all about, because not everyone knows. And no, it's not the devil's holiday by any means. But anyway, for us who like the darker, little bit darker side of life, Halloween is a real treat. So good night, everybody. Trick or treat. And thank you so much for stopping out. I'm Organic Silver Moon Designs. I'm a jewelry and a canvas artist. And my name is Lydia. It's been a pleasure. Good night for now.